Hi, this is the Project Spark Alphabet. I'm Lady Lex UK, and today we're looking at the letter H. And for my prop, I've decided to do the hanging lantern, and for my brain tile, I'm doing health. So let's start off with our brain tile. Here is my woodland peasant with his third-person adventure brain in, his default brain, and I've altered it so that every time I press the right trigger, it's going to show you a slightly different health options. So let's start by pressing the trigger. And here's our first options. Now this is something you might be most familiar with. Top left hand corner, that's what you will normally see in a default brain. That's his health meter, and if I run up to this killing bar here, there we go, you can see his health goes down, and that's a normal health bar. Now down the center you can see all the different options for that health bar. There's the default at the top there, and then there's a resource meter, there's a conquer one there. They're all pretty much of a muchness. They're blue with the red bar. Now although you can't change that blue bar, you can change the colour of the actual meter itself. Fourth one down is actually what was represented as no colour. Unfortunately it doesn't go transparent or anything like that. No colour is sort of pure black really, but there you go, you can see you can change the colour of the meter. That will make it look different. And our third choice, here we have different sizes for the meters. So the top one is the small HUD, then it's the medium HUD, then it's the large HUD, and then it's scale of 0.15, scale of 0.3 and scale of 2. So you can see you have much more control if you use the scale tile on your meters, and to make anything the size that you want and make it look completely different. Now the next one, I have a bespoke health meter that I've made myself. So I've stacked the various elements on top of each other to create a brand new meter. So I've got the resource meter on the top of there, and there is a stretch using the height and width tiles, a stretched capsule, and then I've put a health icon in front of that to show you it's a health bar. I've also put in some codes that allows this brain to show slightly different depending on how much health. So here we go, as it gets lower and lower and lower, and as soon as it gets to halfway, there we go, he's changed his brain, and it's now our broken heart, and the meter is now red. Okay, if I go over here I can get my health back, and it's gone back to yellow again, and the heart's come back. There we go. Okay, our next meter is basically a number. So we've got 65 out of 100, 100 being our max health, and as I go over here it will just reduce. There we go, however many it will reduce as I stand there. And that's another way of displaying your health, and you could have that anywhere on the screen, and you can have it as part of a pull-up, or with a lot of other text, or whatever you fancy doing. And then here we have various hearts. Let me go over to this green and max out my health, as you can see. There we go, I've maxed out my health now. So I have 10 hearts there, and as I walk over to my death pole, the health disappears and it shrinks down, I've got less hearts, and the colour of the bar changes. It's now orange. Now red, and it's flashing, it's warning me that I'm in danger of dying. So let's regain some health and stand over here, and back it goes, back to the orange and the yellow, and back to the normal colour. There we go. And then for our next one, we've got various hearts on the page without any background there, and they just disappear from the left hand side as I get hurt, and as I walk over to the health, back they come. Okay, so let's see how all of those work. The default's pretty much self-explanatory, so we can probably zip past these pretty quickly. So display health, and then position that you want to display it as a meter, and then you can choose your meter from the gallery. The meter gallery is here, so you go to modifiers, page 2, meter gallery, and then you can choose your whichever meter you want. Now, because I've changed my meter from page to page, I've used max and max health. This ensures that if you're swapping meters from one meter to another meter, then it's always going to show the maximum on that meter as the max health, and not the number that it is when you first activate it. So set that to max health. That will definitely make sure that the meter will show the max health as the maximum. Right, here it is with different colours. Again, you go into values, colour, and then you pick your colour. And that's a simple just addition of colour to the meter. It doesn't affect the outside, the blue parts, but it does affect the colour of the actual meter itself. Right, this is the sizing. So we've used small HUD. That's found in modifiers, HUD size, small HUD, medium HUD, large HUD. And here I've used scale. So that's again modifiers, scale, and then you put a number which between 0 and 1 to get, well, not 0 and 1, but if it's under 1, then it's going to be smaller, and it's more than that, it's going to be double, triple, whatever size you want. Right, now this one is our bespoke meter. So I've got a vector variable which is going to place my heart on the screen, and I've used, if you look at projectspark.co.uk, there's a whole description of how screen vector variables work. But basically I'm saying for my Y vector I want 0.85, and for my X vector I want 0.2, and that places that heart icon at the position that I want it. Now I've got, if our health, now don't get these two muddled up because they are the same looking, but health with a capital H is an icon, and health with a small h is a number variable, the number variable of your health. So if health is greater than or equal to 50, then we're going to display that health icon, and otherwise we're going to display the broken heart icon. We're going to display this horizontal capsule shape in orange, and we're going to stretch it a little bit, and then if health is greater than or equal to 50, we're going to display that meter in a sort of orangey colour, and if not, we're going to display it as a red colour. And we've got no HUD stack here, so that appears underneath, and not that they don't appear one underneath each. They don't appear one below each other. They appear layered on one on top of each other. Okay, so let's look at type 5. This was we actually don't need that line. Display the health plus text of a slash plus your maximum health. Screen top right with a large HUD, so it's nice and large. There you go. That just puts the numbers in the top right hand corner. That's nice and simple. You can display the health as a number. It's a numbered variable, don't forget. And you can use that number for mathematical formula as well. Right, type equals 6. This was where we had the hearts displayed, and we also had it flashing when it got down to very low health. And this is the flashing part of it. So countdown timer 0.15 loop hold time 0.15, opacity equals 1, and then with the trigger on start, opacity equals 0. So this is changing my opacity from 1 to 0 in a countdown timer loop, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. And when health is greater than 90, it is going to display this basic panel with a width of 1.5, and then all these health icons. There's 10 of them, and I've done that for every 10. So there's 80 to 90, 70 to 80, 60 to 70, etc, etc. And then I've changed the colour of that panel, so it goes yellow, it goes orange, and then at the end it's red, but the opacity setting is set by that opacity number variable that I just showed you. So it will flash. Now, if you think that's a lot of code and you don't want to be bothered with that, there is a simple way, and that was the next version. So you say rounded up equals your health divided by 10, and rounded equals rounded up. And then for each of your rounded variable, display one of those icons, screen top right. So it's going to go through and put one of these icons on the top right hand corner for every 10 health you have. And if you don't have it, it won't display it. And that's it. That's a very, very simple way of doing, and you can do it with any icon. It doesn't have to be the health heart. It can be any icon you like, and it will just, and that's rounded up to 10, and you display as many as you like. So you could do it in quarters or whatever. It really doesn't matter. It's up to you how you do it for your health. So there you go. There's the different ways of displaying health, and there are hundreds and hundreds of ways that you can do it. I could go through, I could spend hours just showing you different ways of displaying health, but there's some simple basic ones to get you started and get you thinking about how you might display your health in a different way. Okay, so now our prop. So this is my prop for today, and it is the hanging lantern. Now, if you want to make this into a proper hanging lantern, like most lanterns and lights in Project Spark, it gives off no light whatsoever. You need to attach a light bulb. So what you do is you go into here, you type in light. There's your light bulb. Stick that there, and then you attach it to your light. And now this is going to give off some light. And then you notice that this in here isn't very exciting looking. So let's have a look at its brain. Power is off. Let's turn the power on. There we go. Power on. The light appears to be on. But you still need, as you can see, it's not giving off any light. You still need a light bulb in order to give off light. So that is a proper hanging light. So don't forget that. Now, what is interesting about this hanging light is it is the only bit of chain that we have in the game. Unfortunately, they didn't give us any more. That's it. And it's attached to this hanging lantern. But that doesn't mean you can't use it. You just have to be a little bit more innovative with it. So what I've done here is I've created myself some link chain fencing, which looks pretty good. So all I've done is I've taken my hanging lantern. Let me show you. I've taken my hanging lantern like this, and I'll just show you. I'll just scale this down a bit. I think that's a little bit too small. And about 40%. There we go. I stuck that on the bottom of my chain. Now you may find that this is slightly leaning, so you might have to rotate this about a bit to get it so that it's nice and straight, which probably means, yeah, you'll have to change the position of your block, make it a little bit bigger so it gets it right. But there you go, you get two of these, one on top of the other, and you end up with, actually I put two together there, hang on, there we go, we end up with one of these. There we go. So we've got a chain with 2 blocks on it. Now you can do all sorts of things with that, but it's very good for fencing like this. I've made a chain link window here, a simple little window for a dungeon or something like that. You can use it for chaining things up. So we can do this and we'll rotate it like that. If you embed this like this, there we go, put this into the ground like that, or into your prop, you can chain things together as long as you can embed this end, this hanging lantern part, within your prop so you can't see it. It's not too bad, but obviously to get a double length you would do something like, oh, why isn't it doing it? How annoying. There we go. Done it this time. Right. Something like this. Don't forget you've got to rotate so that the chain link links inside itself. There we go. That gives you a double bit of chain, and if you can embed that inside whatever you're chaining to and it doesn't look too bad, there's a way of chaining things together. Here I've got it doesn't look very good in out of test mode, but when you get it into test mode, I've got my hanging prisoners hanging from the wall, and it's great. It's just the hanging lanterns embedded in the wall. A bit of chain comes out and you just position it. Now here I've got my prisoner. He's cheering, and then I've changed his pace to 0, so he's got one arm up. It looks as if he's trying to pull it away from the wall there, and he's hanging from the wall. And this poor soul over here is a dead villager. Just turn the destroy after death off, put his health to 0, and it will make him dead. And then you can hang him about, and you hang him upside down or the right way up, or whatever you want to do with him, really. Let me just show him that. There we go. Look, he's going to die. There we go. So I can get him off this wall and grab him. I see there, just to prove it's, there we go. There's a bit of chain. Can I grab this villager? There he is. There we go. I can rotate him round, so I can stick him on my wall as a prisoner. Like that. And then I can take my chain and I can scale this up a bit, and maybe I can make that into a neck chain for him. It's a bit big now. And I might need to rotate that bit. There we go. He's chained to the wall by his neck. There we go. So you can do all sorts of things if you want to make it like a dungeon scene with some chains and stuff. There you go. There's some options for you. I bet you didn't think the hanging lantern was so versatile. Bet you thought you could only use it as a lantern. You just got to be a little bit innovative in Project Spark, so you can have lots more props than you think ever would be possible. Okay, so that was just a quickie for the prop. I hope that's been useful to you. And as always, keep sparking.